I'm actually a huge WWE fan, and I've watched WWE for a couple times. During around the time John Cena was like before he turned into champion, and Eddie versus Rey Mysterio for WrestleMania 21. My brothers actually got me into wrestling. Um, my one of my friends was trying to get me into wrestling, but I thought wrestling was for boys only, and I was like, well, why should I watch it? And then my brothers kind of got me back into wrestling because of the storylines, and I just got really invested. But I remember seeing wrestling as a little girl, seeing my dad watching wrestling sometimes back when it was called WWF. And let me know if you guys could hear, by the way, because sometimes I have some audio issues going on. I will be taking water breaks in case you guys hear a background noise, and I might have to pause because sometimes I live in apartments, so there might be some noises going around in the background. So I'll probably have to close the window and pause the video for a little bit, like maybe 10 seconds. So anyway, yeah, I've been a huge wrestling fan for such a long time. I don't know if you guys know, but I have my own YouTube channel. It's called Dalster Keeps Vlogging, and I usually do a lot of like a lot of videos about music, holiday decorations, abandoned store closings, wrestling, a lot of wrestling. I've done a lot of Dark Side of the Ring episode reviews for a while. I've been right now I'm currently on season 3 because I haven't done all of season 3 yet, which is why I've been like, going like out of order because when I started doing season 4, I wanted to do season 4 because I thought it was very interesting, and a lot of people started to watch a lot of my videos and say that they were pretty good, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll start doing the rest of the Dark Side of the Ring episodes. And I've been trying to finish up season 3 because I heard that supposedly there might be another season coming out. I'm hoping next year because I'm still not finished with season 3. I think as of now, I'm only like in, I want to say episode 4, 5? Yeah, 5. I think as of now, I need like season 3 is only like 14 episodes. I've already done like I've just finished doing the Collision in Korea. So if you want to check out that, if you want to, or just check out any other videos, you can. I do talk about other like after I finish the review, I talk about facts about rest because I know some of the episodes of Dark Side of the Ring they're kind of outdated. So I decided to input some information because I know some of the wrestlers that were in the episodes have recently passed. A lot of them have passed away already, like New Jack, Antonio Inoki. Who else? There was someone else I can't remember. Oh man. Um, yeah, it's just a lot of stuff going on. And I try to dig deeper into they're kind of like deep dives as well, not just reviews but also deep dives a little bit. I try to do the best that I can with these things. Oh, and especially the Von Erich one. The Von Erich one is kind of like the most, well, my second biggest YouTube video because I talk about all of the Von Erich family and the movie that I just watched, The Iron Claw, last year. Was it last year or was it the year before? I can't remember. And but for some reason, my Abdullah the Butcher's like the longest one. I mean, the most highest viewed one, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of odd. I think maybe because I also like talk about how Hannibal, like, they made this episode make Hannibal look innocent, but in reality, he's. I'm not gonna say he's a bad person because I don't know him well on a personal level, but supposedly they made him look good, and in reality, he's also done some pretty bad things as well, other than what Abdullah did to him by giving him hepatitis C. I don't know. I try to research as much as I can regarding a lot of these wrestlers because I know some wrestlers they have some egos going on, which I'm gonna talk about in a little bit. Wrestlers and wrestling journalists and anyone involving like wrestling employees or anything like that. And you'll see a lot of it in this documentary. I just want to give out a trigger warnings. If you do not like SA or R word or inappropriate touching of a minor, this video will not be for you. I might put this on YouTube, just the commentary part, because YouTube might might not like me streaming the entire documentary. Yeah, because of copyrights and stuff. Also, Mr. McMahon's he's very picky, which I'll speak about in a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna say SA and R word, and but it's just I know for some people might find it really annoying, and I get it. I find it annoying too, but I don't want my platform or my account to get deleted or anything like that. I mean, it's like that with a lot of YouTube channels. People say SA, R word. If you are sensitive to sexual assault or anything involving inappropriate touching of a minor, now's your chance to back out of this thing, because, yeah, you don't want to have to, I don't want any triggering or people to feel bad about themselves. But yeah, anyway, moving on. Um, So I also want to give a disclaimer, another disclaimer as well. Just be aware that there are certain people in the in this documentary who might be a little. They may seem like good people, like oh maybe they're right, but sometimes they don't really have all the facts. Someone that I like to pinpoint is Dave Meltzer. Dave Meltzer, he's kind of a journalist, kind of known to not have all his facts straight, and a lot of people don't like him, and he's kind of like not someone who should be a reliable source. Also, Vince Russo as well. I mean, I don't hate the guy, but it's just a lot of people don't like Vince Russo, so a lot of people say he's full of himself, so just be aware. I don't know if Ryback's in this documentary, because I know Ryback, he's a wrestler, and he's kind of a bit of a crybaby online all the time. He also says some really just. He's not a reliable source either, but we'll just hear what they have to say. I don't know if he's in this documentary, but I'm pretty sure he is, and he'll probably say a lot of bad things about WWE. I mean, the guy literally is a walking toxic guy. But I'll hear him out on this one. Also, I think, and just to give you another, just to give you a notice, I have a video titled Vince McMahon, Vince McMahon's childhood. It's on my YouTube channel right now. If you want to check that out, I do have some of the sources put on the description box. So if you want to check out that video, you can. I think some people were mad about. I know some of the people in the comments were kind of mad, like, "Why are you saying this? You say the whole word." I can't say the whole word because I said in the beginning of the video, I had to follow YouTube community guidelines, or else I might get suspended in my channel. I don't want to get suspended. Also, one more thing. I'm sorry. Some of the stuff is outdated. So if you see wrestlers like Undertaker, John Cena, etc., praising Vince McMahon, it was probably before he finally got fired and was accused of really just making hurting a woman named Janelle, which we'll find out in the last episode. Oh, there he is. Oh wow, they have the whole kids. I mean, the whole family. Even Triple H. This guy, so in case you don't know, this guy is in charge of WWE right now. He is the son-in-law of Vince McMahon. He's married to Stephanie McMahon, Vince McMahon's daughter. And currently he's in charge of everything. And he's been doing a really good job. I know some people might have some things saying that, Vince McMahon was better. But I know for a fact there's gonna be some Vince McMahon fans coming at me, so I'm prepared.
I think it's gotta go that way.
Oh, Hulk Hogan, not a fan of his.
Stray pieces.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Oh, John Cena. Cody? In 2021, over 100 hours of interviews were filmed with Vince McMahon. Wow, that is a lot. Wait, hold on. Let me finish this. His family business associates and some of World Wrestling Entertainment's most popular stars. Just to let you guys know that Vince McMahon was trying to get this documentary out of Netflix. He was trying to buy it so that way no one would ever see it. So I'd say he's probably guilty of something. I think he put way too much Botox on his face. He looks so different. I just can't imagine how, like, whatever Janelle Grant was saying, accusing him, imagine seeing that face. Ugh. That's scary.
Doing?
Well.
I mean, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a hater, but come on. Like, Vince McMahon, what did you do to your face? Like, you weren't that bad before. I think he put way too much Botox on himself. God, he just gives me really bad vibes. I mean, his face back then, it wasn't that bad, to be honest. But the face he has now is just... Well, he is getting old, too. That could be why. I'm really sorry if this is hurting anyone. I never really considered him a bad person until the allegations.
And it's been a while for me to...
Just letting you guys know that he might not be reliable in this one.
Man was.
generationally.
I mean, I hate to say this, but yeah, I mean, Vince McMahon, even though love him or hate him, he created something really good. And, you know, a lot of children, now adults, still remember watching WWE, myself included. But yeah, those were times of our lives. But there were some things that I didn't understand why they had to do the way they did, like the God thing, which I think they're gonna talk about in this one.
Prisoners.
Oh, and by the way, Eric Bischoff, he's also someone who's kind of like a little bit egoistical. So don't take him lightly either. Try not to. Well, we'll hear him out, but you know, he's someone who's kind of egoish. Next to Vince, right here. Ashley Massaro, I don't know if they're gonna talk about her in the last episode, but she was a wrestler who, I also did a video on her. I don't know if you want to check that out on my YouTube channel. I know I'm like all promoting my YouTube channel. What happened to her was that she won the Diva Search in 2006 or 2007, 2005. I can't remember, but, and they did not give her, proper, training like a lot of the wrestlers do, because a lot of wrestlers, if you want to wrestle in the ring, you have to learn how to do certain moves, or else if you just randomly just not stick to certain rules or something, you could injure or paralyze your opponent or yourself. And Ashley Massaro did not have any training or how to like put over people, and mostly because allegedly Vince McMahon didn't want her to wrestle. And so she had a lot of injuries, concussions, and unfortunately, you know, she even tried to go to a wrestling school in New York and train there, or I think it was Rhode Island. And Stephanie McMahon allegedly told her she can't do that. And so Ashley, she had a lot of injuries over the years because of WWE. And when she went to Kauai in around 2007, 2008, unfortunately she was R-worded by a guy who she thought was a doctor, and you know, she came back home and she was never the same after that, allegedly. So I don't know, but I do believe in her story. I think it happened to her, and it's pretty sad. And what happened when she told Vince, they told her to just move forward. Like, they told her to not to just bury it, and they were not gonna do anything about it because Vince McMahon did not want to. He did not want the relationship he had with the veterans in Iraq to, you know, affect. He didn't want any negative impact with this relationship with the veteran soldiers over there in Iraq or Kauai, wherever they were. And so he just told her that they were going to sweep under this rug, and Ashley then left WWE, but unfortunately it scarred her for a really long time, the whole thing that happened over there. And sadly in 2019 she took out her life, and you know, she left behind her daughter and her brothers and a family, and it's really sad. Actually, I would honestly recommend if you're one of those people that hates reading books, or you just never have time to read, I would recommend downloading Audible and buying the Ashley versus WWE. It's really good. I know it's a little, sometimes it could be a little bit corny, but it's really good. It goes into really good detail into what happened to Ashley, and it kind of, like, it's really sad. Makes sense, like, why Vince McMahon would do something like that. But I mean, he's done a lot of horrendous things over the years, even before then. Anyway, moving on. I'm just letting you guys know because I know it's also a part of the documentary. Well, it should be a part of the documentary. So this is Bret Hart. He's also an important person in Vince's life because Vince McMahon ended up humiliating Bret Hart, which ultimately caused Bret Hart to leave WWE and go to WCW, which is like WWE's biggest competition during the 90s. And what happened a couple months after that was that when Bret Hart's little brother Owen Hart was still wrestling in WWE, well, WWF at the time, and he fell from the building all the way to the ring and sadly passed away. I actually didn't. I did an episode on Owen Hart for the Dark Side of the Ring recently as well. If you want to check that one out. And even though Owen Hart died in the ring, and there was still blood in the ring when he fell, they still continued the show. Wow, this is really long. Okay, I'll continue on. So
He let me down with his.
You would definitely want to pay attention to this. Oh, and by the way, as of now, Bret Hart said that he does not forgive Vince and that Vince should go to hell, in case you guys are wondering.
Lies.
Do you think your dad gets a bad rap?
Yes.
I think my dad gets the rap that he wants.
This happens to be Janelle Grant. She's not in this documentary, in case you guys are wondering.
Bear with.
It started with a tip, and the tip was that the board of WWE had received an anonymous email. The emailer was accusing McMahon of having taken advantage of an employee and then covered it up. Another thing we heard.
Oh, and trigger warning, when you hear about this, I think it's going to be in the last episode. It's really, 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 really triggering. So if you're one of those people that does not like nasty stuff or anything involving, the SA or anything like that, yeah, you do not want to watch that. It's very graphic.
Was you're only scratching the surface, and there's a lot.
Let's just say it's a lot. It's similar to what R. Kelly did to his victims.
A lot more here.
Oh yeah, it was so graphic. If you heard things about R. Kelly or P. Diddy, I know Diddy's also getting canceled right now. If you hear the stories of R. Kelly's victims, it's kind of similar to this, but probably dirtier.
The WWE mogul resigning on Friday after a former employee filed a lawsuit accusing him of subjecting her to, quote, countless depraved and humiliating acts.
The majority of the following interviews, including with Vince McMahon, were filmed before the sexual misconduct allegations were made public.
The stories.
He's too scared.
I'll give you enough that it's semi-interesting. I don't want anybody to really know me.
I think he's just nervous about that. I mean, I get it, he's been through a lot when he was a kid, but what he did when he was an adult, now, like, as an adult, not good. You're fire. His father's Vince McMahon Sr.
That was real.
I thought it was real as a kid. That is true because a lot of kids, and I've seen this in the park. I remember when I was 11th grade, I was doing community service for cleaning the park, and I just saw these two random boys. They were like trying to do one of them, it looked like they were doing like a sharpshooter on another kid, and it's wrestling's like all over. Like, kids love wrestling, like WWE mostly.
Third generation wrestling
Yeah, Vince
promoter.
McMahon did a lot in order to step foot in his dad's footsteps. Like, he said one of his least favorite classes was economics, I could relate because I hate economics too. I took it in my senior because we have to. It was so hard and weird.
Sometime announcer, and the force behind the WWF.
One day, we hope to be recognized as
Look how young he looks.
the premier source of sports entertainment.
15 years old.
Whoa,
He looked
he must have been.
and presented himself like the Pope of Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, Madison
When I was
Square
growing up-
Garden is where they usually have like their huge, bigger events back in the day.
I didn't like mom and this certain
Poor Vince. Yeah, so I did a video about Vince McMahon's childhood. It's so sad, man. I mean, it's hard to hate him, but at the same time, it's also like, well, he still did bad things. I feel so bad for him as a kid.
stepfather bases.
Leo Lupton. Aw, come on, man.
But one thing that Vince had was emotion. And Vince told stories.
I realized that
I mean, I don't think he was a bad commentator either. Some people say he was good, but I don't know. Wait, so his dad wanted to sell the business? I didn't know that.
he wasn't thinking about me at all.
Yeah, I think his father, Vince Sr., he didn't want Vince to take over the company for some reason. I think maybe he was just worried that it would be too pressuring for Vince Jr. and also what he went through as a child. Unfortunately, that ended up kind of taking over later on.
Was I didn't
I
want to be
always wonder, maybe Vince Sr. kind of knew in his mind that if Vince, his son, bought the company, something bad was going to happen, which unfortunately it did years later. Because I know sometimes parents' tuition, they usually know things like they know, for instance, that when their child does something, it's going to end up bad, and it ends up bad, of course. Maybe he kind of knew. Maybe.
pro wrestling. I don't like that term today. I want to be something beyond pro wrestling. I want us to grow and compete against all these other promoters.
But again, okay, one more thing. And I'm just gonna leave it like that for a couple minutes. Also, maybe his father just saw him as another version of himself, and maybe that kind of scared him a little. Cause I know, I used to watch this soap opera, and there was this guy who owned a company, the character, and he was kind of evil, kind of like very menacing, like people like every time you mess with him, he's always like not the kind of guy you wanna mess with because he'll get you back no matter what. And he a couple kids, like his third child, which ended up being a son, the mother of that kid ended up naming his son after him, and the son kind of was like another version of him, only younger and more aggressive, probably a little more probably a little more like well, probably more like why can't my dad not acknowledge what I did? Like, it's not fair. I want my dad's praise, respect, and he still hasn't given it to him. I think maybe Vince Sr. was probably afraid in some levels that maybe Vince Jr. was gonna end up like him.
It's a dog-eat-dog world, and you have to get your bite out of it.
It was one of those things where
Just
I'm not
as
taking
he said
anything
that,
away
I
from
heard
it.
one of the dogs around here in my neighborhood barking. I'm not kidding. I don't know if you guys heard that. So Vince Sr. was the one that called Hulk Hogan. It wasn't Vince Jr.
When they brought me up, they needed.
I don't mean to be a jerk and all, but Vince Sr. was kind of like old. So he probably didn't have an idea. It's kind of like nowadays too, like when you see the elderly seniors nowadays, and they're like, "Oh, our way was better. Oh, Gen Z sucks. Our time was way more smarter." And then you look at some of the things. It's just a lot of people at that age, especially Vince Senior. I think they just don't stick with the updates and times, maybe. And with Vince McMahon Jr., I think he was kind of seeing it in a way. But in a way, like later, during his last years of WWE, he kind of did the same thing his dad did. I mean, he was kind of like sticking to his storylines, and you'll find out in this documentary that Vince McMahon Jr. He thought his way was towards the end of his career. A lot of his storylines he thought they were good, but the problem with that is that he kept changing them every so often. Like during the last few years in Raw and SmackDown, he would have like the writers like change everything last minute, and I think maybe it's just with age it kind of gets like that. But when you're young, well, I wouldn't say when you're old, you kind of like don't really keep up with everything. You think that your way is better, but when someone's young, like in their 20s, 30s, maybe 40s, they're kind of up to date. Some of them, some of the people are up to date to what's going on as of now. And I think maybe Vince Sr. was just like, no, my way is better, even though he's kind of like from an old generation, like old school. So yeah, I think maybe he went way over the edge with that part. That's why. I mean, the later in the years with the divas, the bra and panties matches, the blood, and ugh. Well, it gets worse later in the years. I mean, they also Triple H and I think Nick Khan, they also kind of, that's why they also sold their rights to Netflix too. Like they saw that streaming that's where the future's heading right now. Although they're probably not happy about this documentary though. Oh, I know that guy. I did an episode on him. Oh, no, it wasn't Larry. He was one of Hulk Hogan's friends, and supposedly Hulk Hogan betrayed him. Yeah, there's a lot of people Hulk Hogan ended up betraying, and that's one of them. I'm trying to find out what his name was. I don't want to say just a random name. Oh wait, yeah, okay. Yeah, I did an episode on that guy, the one that was shooting a gun. It was David Schultz. I was gonna say Larry, but I'm like, no, it's not Larry. David Schultz, that was the guy. And then Hulk Hogan got him fired. Or backstabbed him. No. Hulk Hogan backstabbed him. Like, he was basically just like, Hulk Hogan was like, I don't need you anymore. What a douchebag Hulk Hogan is, I swear. Because I think back in the day, you could rent a tux or something like that, borrow a tux in the stores, and then you could return it back, but it has to be really clean though. In 1987, John Stossel settled his lawsuit against David Schultz and Titan Sports, WWE. Back then, WWE was called WWF and then WWF, I don't know why. And I think Titan Sports, I don't know. I need to start researching better. In 1990, Richard Belzer settled his lawsuit against Vince McMahon, Hulk Hogan, and Titan Sports. David Schultz got fired, but Hulk Hogan did not. Let that sink in. Okay, so I think that's the end of episode 1. So I think I might do oh god, sorry about that. I'll do episode 2 in like 30 minutes or so, because, again, my computer's making noise. So far, this episode, it really nothing new other than the fact that Vince Sr. was the one that called Hulk Hogan. It wasn't Vince Jr. I thought it was Vince Jr. They didn't really mention much about Vince getting inappropriately touched as a minor, which I was kind of a little shocked they didn't mention that. But again, if you want to find more information about that, you could go on my YouTube channel. I do have like the sources, so if you don't want to listen to my video, I get it. You can click on the sources. There's like an article that he did in Playboy in 2001, where he interviewed and talked about what he went through as a kid and how he was SA'd, sexually assaulted as a kid. It was from his mother. They didn't even talk about his mother that much either in this documentary. But I thought it was an okay episode. I think this documentary is mostly for people that are like non-wrestling fans. But I don't know. I kind of give it like an 8 out of 10. I mean, I know a lot of the information, especially some of the people. Like, I know a lot of these people in this episode were talked about in the Dark Side of the Ring. So if you want to check out that, you can. It's available on Hulu with the subscription. But if you don't want to pay, you could also go on Tubi. They have some of the episodes. I think they have some of them, not all of them. It's TUBY. No, wait. Let me do that again. Oh, God. I'm running out of... I gotta drink some water. It's T as in tiger, U, B as in bat, I as in iguana. It's free, but there are commercial ads if you want to look at Dark Side of the Ring. But I'll see you guys...